Hi, I'm Dana, and I spent the vast majority of my childhood and teen years having my mum tell me that I was just so lazy. I needed to stop being lazy. I was always just so lazy. It was a constant growing up because my mum was one of those people that was like, I haven't sat down all day, I haven't been able to do anything, I haven't been able to have a cuppa, and now you're sitting down after being at school all day when that's not even hard. So I very much believed it. I was just like, God, I'm such a lazy person, I really can't be bothered doing anything. And then following on from that situation, at 16 years old, I met a 21-year-old man who became my boyfriend. I moved in with him and lived with him for the next 9 years. We were only in a relationship for 8 of those, but he'd been financially abusive, so I didn't have any money or any ability to move out before that time. I had to save up and do all sorts of stuff to be able to move out, and it was an absolute nightmare. But it very much continued again with him, where I was just the laziest person on the entire planet. And with both those situations, it's been really weird to reflect on, because there is a level of I couldn't cope, I couldn't function, I couldn't keep up with all of the demands on me. And I suppose if you're someone who finds it easy to keep up with all of those demands and you just don't struggle with it, I can see why you would look at someone else and be like, God, they're being so lazy for not doing that. But having reflected so much on those situations and tried to figure out why I am such a lazy person, very nearly all of my laziness has like a reason, and I'm not actually being lazy. And I also had a therapist at one point who I discussed this with, and she told me no one's actually lazy. Everyone has a reason for not doing the thing that they're meant to be doing, or for like generally like slacking off or whatever else. Like there's always an actual reason behind it. And if you are able to solve what that is and solve the issue, then you're not lazy anymore. And as such, if there was a problem that needed to be solved, were you ever lazy in the first place? And there is a very, very large level to which I believe that to be correct and to be true, because I've known people whose laziness has frustrated me, and it's the type of thing where there has always been a reason they're not doing the thing, and there's a reason they appear to be lazy. But I've also known several people in my life where I've been like, okay, but that is a very easily solved thing. Like if you just took an hour of your life to solve this issue that you have, all this other stuff would be unlocked to you and you're just not bothering. Like, get it done. But again, I also understand that it's fucking scary. Changing things and doing things and solving problems, it can be really fucking terrifying. So it's another one where like, there's still a reason, you know? So I do want to start with the fact that I genuinely don't think laziness is a real actual fucking thing, to be honest with you. So having grown up with those experiences and having only had them end a couple of years back, I've been very much like unpacking what my reasons are and why I find certain things difficult and why I put things off and why I'm so lazy when it comes to so many things. And especially right now, while I'm currently in autistic burnout, it's something that I'm thinking on a lot, because it feels like there's a lot of things that I'm just not getting round to and not managing to maintain. And I feel like I'm being lazy. I feel like I'm not putting my all in. I feel like I'm not using my best effort. And the reality is that I very, very much am. But because so many of the things that I'm letting slip and not being able to maintain are the things that I was told I was lazy for not being able to maintain. And it, you know, it's very much things like I have to get up and do my dishes. Every single day I have to do dishes. Really? Fuck. I have to cook myself food every day. I have to eat food and cook and figure all of that out every single day. I'm ordering takeout. I can't deal with it. My dishes are getting left in the sink for a little while, you know? Like it's the little bits of day-to-day life. Like I've only just managed to clean my bathroom for the first time in like a month. And it was only because I've gotten to the point where like every time I've used something, I've just put it somewhere. And I no longer had anywhere to put anything. So it had to be tidied. And I feel like I was just being lazy and letting it build up like that. But I also just don't have the fucking capacity. And I literally like, it's one of those things where I was aware that my bathroom wasn't as clean and tidy as it usually is, but it wasn't until I went to put down my fucking deodorant and didn't have anywhere to put it that I was like, this is a mess. Like this has gotten really, really bad. And that was often the experience I had with my really shitty abusive ex, because I'd moved out with him at 16 and he's coming home being like, why is the house a mess? And I'm like, I literally did not fucking notice, my guy. I didn't notice. And he'd be like, how didn't you notice? And it'd become this whole screaming argument. I say screaming argument, it'd become him like screaming at me for a few hours while I cried and tidied. Like, okay. You know, and it's the thing of like, if I was just lazy, I don't feel like I would get around to those things. I feel like I would have noticed the build up and just been like, you know? It wouldn't be that I genuinely didn't notice it building up until it had gotten bad. It would be that I'd seen it and just didn't care. And I think that's a lot of it for me, is that everything I've ever like failed at, everything I've ever not been able to maintain, everything I've ever not kept up with, I felt fucking awful about it. You know, like it's not just a little like, oh well, I'll do it later, someone else will sort it, I can't be bothered, I'm just too lazy. It's I didn't notice, I forgot about it, it slipped my mind, I just genuinely was not aware. And I feel fucking deep guilt and disappointment in myself, and I feel like I'm an absolute failure of a person for not being able to maintain these normal everyday things that everyone else manages just fine. And it makes me feel like I'm being lazy. And it goes for like all the maintenance of my life. Like look at my roots right now, look at how much brown there is before it gets to ginger. I have hair dye downstairs, and I've spent the last like week being like, yeah, I'm gonna use that soon, I'm gonna be down my hair, I'm gonna be ginger again like Kitty and Riot Women. And I've had that intention every fucking day, but the process of reading all the instructions and figuring out exactly how I'm supposed to do the dye so I don't fuck it up, because even though I've done it multiple times before, I have to read the instructions every single time. I have to like make sure I know exactly what I am doing. You then have the application time, the waiting time, the having to shower and wash it out and sort all of that. Like, I don't understand why people see dyeing your hair as like a fun self-care process when like I'm making a mess, there is dye on me, this is a horrible sensory experience for the next like 5 hours. You know, like all of it's just a fucking nightmare. There's all these new smells. It could go wrong. My hair could fucking melt off. I don't actually know what I'm doing. That's why I read the instructions every time. And it's one of those things where now that I'm discussing it as well, it's like if I was lazy, I feel like I would be doing the things that I need to do and getting around to the things I want to, and I'd just be half-arsing them, you know? That's my experience of people that I've known in the past that I've considered to have like a level of laziness that isn't just, you know, I hope you get what I mean. When there's people I'm just like, you could do something though. I feel like I've very much witnessed that they do eventually get up and do something so they can say that they've done it, and they just fucking half-arse it. It's not done properly, and I cannot do that. I can't do it. So much of my, and it's people like being like, oh, you don't need to be such a perfectionist. And it's like, I don't need it to be perfect. I need it to be to the best of my ability. And I know what that is. So if I'm doing something, I'm making sure I'm doing my absolute best at it, which I think everybody should be doing. And I don't need it to be perfect or flawless. I just need it to be my best. And it takes ages, and it's so much effort, and it's exhausting. So yeah, I could half-arse it and get 7 things done, half-arsed, not quite proper. I'm gonna have to go back and do it properly later anyway. Or I could just do 2 things and do them properly and not have to go back and do them later. But now I've got all these other things that I need to do and that are still just lurking in the background and staring at me, and I feel bad about not doing. And I feel like I'm lazy for not getting around to them, because there should be enough hours in my day. But there very simply fucking isn't, because of how long everything else takes. And I think that's where it's the level of comparison. Because how long is something supposed to take? You know, like I'm very much comparing what I should be able to like accomplish in a day with what the average neurotypical person's accomplishing, and that just ain't happening for me. But that again makes me feel lazy. I feel like I should be able to accomplish like whatever anyone else can. We all have the same amount of hours in the day. We're all adults, we're all people, we can do this and that. And like, I just fucking can't. And that again, it feels like it's laziness and a personal failure rather than I'm a disabled person and I'm doing my best. I'm going to close my window because someone's doing something outside again. And that's why I also often come across ways that I could probably accommodate to myself and make life easier and be able to actually do more. And it feels like laziness. Like, I've been really forcing myself to go out and buy groceries from the actual supermarket instead of ordering them in, because one, it's quite a lot cheaper to actually go and do it. Like the butter that I like, the Flora non-dairy, not salted butter, that's like a proper block of butter, it's like real butter but it's vegan, that's £2.15 if I order it online, and it's 98p if I go in shop. Like, that's insane, that's ridiculous, that's mental. So like, I'll give there is that side of it, but also I've been ordering groceries for fucking ages, like once or twice a week, because it's hard to go to the supermarket, and I'm absolutely sacrificing other things like dyeing my hair and cleaning my bathroom because I have to go to the supermarket, and that means a whole preparation, the time of actually going, coming back, putting everything away, having to like decompress and like, oh my god, I managed it, what the fuck did I actually buy, can I actually cook meals out of any of this stuff? Like, it's an absolute nightmare. And I very easily could accommodate to myself by continuing to order online, and I'll give, again, the price factor is a massive one, but I just also, I feel so lazy, you know? And like, I don't for a moment think that my neighbours are overly like watching and noticing how often I order this or how often I order that. And even if they were watching and noticing, I don't know, I don't think they would care, and if they do care, I don't. But also, it just makes me feel so lazy, and I'm like, everyone can see that I'm lazy because they have to come to my house with the stupid little bags and I have to take the bags, and everyone can see that I'm just the laziest person alive that can't even take myself to the fucking shop. And it's fine, you know? Like, if any of my friends were telling me this, I'd be like, oh, I'll send you a tenner, order your groceries. Don't worry about the price difference. You deserve that accommodation to yourself. You order your groceries because that is so much easier, and you're distressing yourself and ruining your own day by forcing yourself to go and do it in the shop. And yet when it comes to me, I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't be so fucking lazy, babes. Maybe you should just go to the fucking shop and sort it out. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Autism is wrong with you, babes. But like, it's annoying as well because I got rid of that thought. That was a thought that I got rid of like not that long after I was diagnosed autistic, because I was like, oh, I know what's wrong with me now. And it's been coming back lately where I'm like, what's wrong with me? And it's like, babes, we know what's wrong with you. But having said that, there's also the accommodations that I have for myself, because my body hurts all the fucking time and I'm waking up in more and more pain every fucking morning, and I know it's my shitty fucking bed, but also my couch isn't long enough for me to lay on properly, so I'm gonna have to continue sleeping in my bed for now. I really need to get a fucking new mattress. It hurts a lot. And it's like, I have my little stool downstairs in the kitchen, as you've probably seen if you've watched my videos, because I can't physically stand long enough to chop and cook. I can't do it. I start to like have crippling back pain, and I have to squat down and be in a weird curled up position until it goes away again. And I've mentioned before, but my shitty housemate that made me feel like I was really lazy, they made me feel like I was so lazy and useless for just accommodating to myself while they made my living environment a living hell. They'd come in at one point and they were like, maybe your body hurts because you squat down like that, you sit in funny positions. And I was like, no, maybe I sit in these positions because my body hurts. Like, Christ, what a way to miss the point, because you don't understand and don't care to understand anyone else's experience, because you've decided that you know everything ever and you're like so healed and sorted. But anyway, you know, and that's where walking to the supermarket and carrying groceries home also hurts my body, and I would probably do more things in a day if it wasn't hurting my body and making me want to just sit down and curl up and be in the position that doesn't fucking hurt, you know? And I'll give that in that regard. I don't know what that is. And I think this is just going to have to be a disclaimer that I include every time I talk about any sort of chronic pain. Don't tell me to talk to my doctor. I've spoken to multiple doctors and they've patted me on the head and told me that's too bad. And I'm moving in like a month, so I'm going to have to go to a new doctor. And I'm going to try again. I'm going to do it. And honestly, I assume it's going to be the same fucking experience of them being like, oh, that's too bad. We might bother to give you a blood test, but we don't really care. So it's really frustrating when comments are just like, go to your doctor and you'll be fixed. Why are you being so lazy about that? No one's comment's been like that. I'm aware that you are trying to help me, but it's so frustrating when I've done the advice that you're giving and it didn't help me. And I'll give also that I think a huge amount of me feeling lazy right now and putting that on so many areas of my life is that it's taking me so long to move. So I feel like I should be go, get things done. I don't really have all that much to do. So I feel like I should be doing much more than I am. I'm barely managing to keep up with the stuff that I am doing that is necessary to like maintain being alive and semi-comfortable in the house that I'm currently in. And it all just feels like a lot, and I don't feel like I'm doing anything or being enough. And I am, really. I guess. I'm trying to have some level of fucking like self-esteem and self-worth. I swear to God I am. It's hard, it's difficult, and especially being in the period of autistic burnout where like sometimes I like look at the wall and then I'm like, oh, it's been like 2.5 hours, you know, like that really cuts down my ability to get things done in a day. I'm just losing hours. I'm sleeping longer than I usually do. It's all a bit really annoying. I just have my golden moment of like, I'm going to move at some point and then everything will be alright and I'll be sorted. I'll be able to redo my entire life and be a brand new person, because that's totally how that always works out. No, like I feel like I am being pretty realistic about it, but I think I'm just going to have a month of feeling pretty shitty about myself and my situation until it all changes all at once and I'm like, oh, I was working towards this the whole time and it was all worth it. Cool, great, I feel okay now. And I'm glad that I have that level of self-awareness about my emotions, but it still kind of sucks for the moment. So that's today's video over with. I am hopefully going to dye my hair today now that I've done this, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll do a video of it, maybe I won't, I don't really know. But if you're new here, I make videos like this one and about family abuse and I make videos about abusive families and autism, and then every now and again I try and throw something fun in there to show my actual personality, because I only really think about these topics in regards to my own healing and video topics, and I don't want my channel to seem like that's all I think about and all I talk about, because it's really, really not, you know? But it is also quite a big element of my life and me moving forward and healing myself to feel better, and I really hope it's helpful to other people. So as always, if you wanted to comment or subscribe or like the video, that would all be very cool and nice of you. You can also find me over on TikTok, Blue Sky or Instagram, and if you want to help me out financially, you can do so over on Ko-fi or Patreon. I've gotten to a point where I have savings for my rent and deposit. I'm not all the way there yet, but I've saved money. I've saved some. It's happening. I think I might somehow eventually be alright. You also gain access to the Discord if you join me on Patreon, but you can also just fucking email me or message me for the link. I'm not gatekeeping it for monetary access, because I wouldn't be able to afford to be a part of it if that was the case. And also, if you do join the Patreon to get the link, you don't have to like keep coming back. You're not going to get booted because you didn't pay for the second month. You're fine. I just like it being a little community space where we can all hang out and chat, okay? So whoever you are, wherever you are, if you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.